Get ready for your daily dose of marketing strategies and tactics from entrepreneurs with the guile and experience to help you find success in any marketing capacity. You're listening to Marketing School with your instructors, Neil Patel and Eric Sue.
Welcome to another edition of Marketing School. I'm your host, Eric Sue.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about 7 questions you should always ask potential agency clients. So the thing is, we know that there are a lot of people in the audience right now that are perhaps thinking about striking it out on their own, or perhaps they're part of an agency already. So the question is, what should you always ask people initially? And I'll kick it off. What we always do, especially when I'm talking to people on a sales call, I want to see if other people are involved on the decision. So for example, if it's a more junior level person calling in, I want to see who else is involved. So I'm always going to ask, is there anybody involved in the decision? That way I can, figure out what my next steps are. Because the worst thing is, if you go all the way with the proposal with a junior person, you spend all that time, you spend all that effort, and that person can't even make a decision. Well, that's on you because you didn't ask for the other stakeholders to get involved. So you need to put it on your shoulders to say, hey, whoever else is involved, let's get them in on another call. Let's get them involved so then they can help make the decision. And that's going to help you close the deal.
The next question that I would ask is, and I actually like asking this one first, is what are your overall goals and objectives? If you can wave a magic wand, what would you like me to solve for you? Because if they tell you that they want to rank number 1 for auto insurance and they want to do it within 30 days and they're a small mom and pop, you'll quickly know that you can't do it. And a lot of people have unrealistic goals like that. Some of the bigger companies have much more realistic goals, but it doesn't matter even if their goals are unrealistic or realistic. What really matters is, do you think you can help them achieve those goals? And by finding that out right away, you'll quickly know that if you can satisfy the client or if you can't. Because if you can't, then you can tell them, hey, I wish I could help you. It doesn't matter if you have $1 million a month budget. I don't think I can provide the results you're looking for. And for that reason, we aren't a good fit. Or if you think you can do really well, you'll have a good understanding of what your costs may be, how long it's going to take, etc., right? If you can achieve their goals. And that'll give you a framework on how to proceed forward with that customer or potential customer.
So the third thing I like to ask potential clients is always, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good do you think your marketing strategy is? And most of the time, this is going to catch people off guard. And oftentimes I hear people saying 1 or 2 out of 10 being best. And that's when I can get into a deeper conversation to talk about, hey, we need to back up a second and talk about your marketing strategy before even jumping into execution. Because the thing with a lot of agencies is, they're just going to go out there, send a proposal to people, and then they'll never hear from the client again. If you're talking to people about their marketing strategy and you're putting actual thought into what needs to happen for the first 30, 60, 90 days or so, you're able to have a game plan to go after. And this is a great way to get the client basically you can get the client, it's like a foot in the door kind of strategy where you can charge people one time for a marketing strategy. So I always like to ask them, what is their, how good is their marketing strategy? And then, if it's a 10, then, perhaps we can jump straight into execution. But most of the time, this is going to tell me how serious they are. And, we can actually, start the relationship off with a one-off type of deal versus trying to sign people into a retainer.
The other thing that I like asking people is, right when you're starting off, what is your budget? And most people come back with, oh, I don't have a budget, or it's pretty flexible, or it depends what you're going to offer. And the reason you want to get to understand what their budget is, not because you can milk them for the most amount of money, right? You shouldn't be doing that. But more so, you can figure out what work you can realistically do within that price range. So when people come back to you with, oh, I don't have a budget, you should say something like, no worries, no problem at all. Even though you don't have a budget, you probably have a rough understanding of what you're willing to spend or what kind of range you're willing to spend. Now, for example, you could say that you're willing to spend roughly $500 a month, or you could say that you're willing to spend around $1 million a month. Depending what your budget is, if it's $500 a month or $1 million a month, what you're going to get is drastically going to change. And the proposal and the pitch that we're going to make to you is also going to change, right? Because the tactics that we would tell you to leverage if you could spend $1 million a month would be drastically different than if you had a budget of $500 a month. And I know that's a really drastic range. And right there, you want to say that to the client, right? I know that's a really drastic range, but you should have some sort of rough idea, right? $1 million is probably too high. $500 a month is probably too low. So do you have like a rough idea? Is it, a few thousand a month? Is it, 10 to 20,000 a month? It was 50 to 100,000 a month, right? You just want to get some sort of range or number from them, because that'll give you a good understanding of what potential services you can do for them. And even if you're a small boutique, if someone says they have a budget of $1 million or $2 million each month, well, you may not be a good fit because what they're looking for, you may not be able to provide. Or if someone has a budget of $500 a month, you could be looking at your overall staff costs and your office expenses, et cetera, and be like, whoa, there's no way we can take on a client for $500 a month because we would lose money. So understanding the rough range that a potential customer will have will help determine you on if they're a good fit for you, as well as what potential services you can offer them.
Number 5, I always want to know who their competitors are. By asking for the top 2 or 3 competitors, I can take a look, and if we're doing a strategy or we're going through a proposal process, I'm going to be able to show them how they stack up against their competitors. Oftentimes you can use a tool like Moz, or you can use some other competitive tools out there just to show them, hey, here's your domain authority versus your competitor's domain authorities. Oh, by the way, they have more links than you, or they have more traffic than you. And nothing bothers people more than seeing their competitors shoot right past them. So this is a good selling tool, and it also gives you some context as to what other people are doing in the space. That way you can kind of wrap your head around, how to best work with this client. There's a lot of stuff that you can glean from competitors. And, sometimes they'll say, oh, we don't have any competitors, but, in fact, there are some really similar websites out there. So you just have to, really ask, and if they say they don't have any competitors, you just ask, who's the most similar, and they should be able to give you some answers.
The 6th question that I would ask, what marketing tactics have you tried in the past that have worked well for you, and which ones have failed? This will give you understanding of what works in their space versus what doesn't. Because even if you have a direct competitor, right? Just take your business, for example. If you have a direct competitor, just because something works for your competition doesn't mean it's going to work well for you. Your customer base could be a bit different. Your solution could be a bit different than theirs. All these factors affect what marketing techniques work and don't work. By asking a potential customer this, you'll quickly figure out that, hey, pay-per-click works extremely well, and that's my strong suit, and I can optimize their campaigns better. Or they may end up saying, hey, pay-per-click doesn't work well, and we failed at it multiple times. And you look at their data and you're like, oh, that's right, I can't make pay-per-click work. And they may end up saying that SEO has been working extremely well, and you look at the SEO stuff and you're like, these guys know more about SEO than me. Well, if that's the case, then you won't be able to help them in SEO, right? But the purpose of all the questions that I'm asking, as well as Eric, it helps you determine how much you can help a customer. The key to running a successful agency is happy clients. If customers are raving and in love with you, they're going to tell more people about you. You're going to get a ton of word of mouth marketing. And that's where the best clients are going to come from. It's not going to come from Google. It's not going to be coming from paid advertising. It's going to come from word of mouth marketing. So all these questions are supposed to help you determine that if you can truly help a company, because the last thing you want to do is take someone on just for the quick check. It'll burn your name if you can't provide results, and that'll screw up your long-term revenue.
The 7th and final question that I always ask, and this is something I failed to do for first couple of years or so, but you always want to make sure that you're setting up the next appointment. You have to be continuing the sales process because it's really on you to continue to follow up. So make sure you're setting up a follow-up call date, whether it's to discuss a strategy or a proposal or just to get other stakeholders on the phone. It's really on you to just get that scheduled right there on that phone call. Say, hey, when's the next time you can talk about this? Let's get this on the calendar. That way you know what the next step is going to be. A lot of people, they tend to let things go into a black hole. You don't follow up there, and that's how you end up losing deals because you're not fast enough, because you're not proactive about things. And it's really easy with all the tools that are out there nowadays. You can use a tool like Mixmax that will automatically send you reminders if people aren't responding to your emails or things like that. So just keep in mind, you want to stay on top of things. And there are a ton of other questions we can be asking, but we're just scraping the surface here with the first 7. So with that being said, that's it for this episode of Marketing School. We'll see you tomorrow.
This session of Marketing School has come to a close. Be sure to subscribe for more daily marketing strategies and tactics to help you find the success you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best daily content possible. We'll see you in class tomorrow, right here on Marketing School.